My March wrap up. Nope, it is April. Hello my sweet angels, it's your girl Jay, and today I am here with my April wrap up for 2025. This month was a little bit of a busy month for me. I'm currently in the process of moving because I bought a house, which is exciting, but also did not realize how much work it would be to pack up one frickin' bedroom in a house. I also went on vacation for 10 days to Mexico, so I am not gonna lie, I did not do a lot of reading, but I did read a total of 8 books, so without further ado, let us get started. The first book I have was actually a reread for me. It is Sinner's Isle by Angela Montoya. I read it before, gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, but I was convinced that this was a 5-star read for me, so I was determined to read it again a year later to see if that was the case, and I would like to announce that it was the case. It was a 5 out of 5 stars for me. This has essentially been marketed as Serpents and Dove meets Pirates of the Caribbean, and I definitely agree with that comparison. This follows Rosalinda. She is a Majestic, and she is stuck on Sinner's Island with the rest of the Majestics. The Majestics are witches who have unique, powerful abilities. She is desperate to escape before she is sold off to the highest bidder, who will then be able to use her abilities. It also follows Mariano, who is the Prince of Pirates. He is led to Sinner's Isle after his shipwrecks, and a pendant that his late father gave him leads him to his heart's desire. When they meet, Rosa immediately starts blackmailing him in order to save her friend and escape the isle before she is sold off. And it is such a stinking fun story. The first time I read this, I was obsessed with the characters. I thought they were so much fun, and they still shone for me in this time around. The found family in this is just so well done in my opinion, and Santi is still my favorite character. I'm desperately hoping for a spin-off following him, but we will see if that is in the cards for this author. I really hope it is. 5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed this one. Definitely read it if you haven't already. The next book I actually read while I was in Mexico, and it is Shatter by April Lynn Pike. This is the finale to the Glitter duology. I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Although I did like Glitter a lot more than this one, I still had fun reading it. It is definitely a slower pace beginning, but the second half of the book did pick up, and I did like where the story went. This essentially picks up immediately after Glitter finishes. And we're still following Danny, who I think is such an interesting character. She is just so ruthless and brutal, but I couldn't help but root for her even after all of the questionable things that she was doing. She was just absolutely terrifying, but I loved every second of it. Justin still absolutely sucks, and I don't like his character, but I love to hate him at the same time. Honestly, I do think that this finale wrapped up the story really well, and the last 50 pages of this had me absolutely hooked. I truly think that this is a very underrated duology. I honestly haven't heard a lot of people talking about it, but I definitely recommend reading it because it's a lot of fun. Next up, I read Give Up the Night by Kristen Cass and PC Cass. This is the finale in the Moonstruck duology, and I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This is another one that picks up immediately after the first book finishes. It does give a brief summary of the first book, so you're not kind of trying to figure out what is going on, because I actually read the first book, I want to say a year or 2 ago. I don't remember when it came out, but it's been a while, so I was a little bit iffy going into it, but the summary definitely did help. It's told in dual point of view once again between Ren and Lee, which I do think definitely helped move the story along. I actually listened to it on audiobook, and it has dual narrators, and I think they both did a really great job. The pacing was really well done. I wasn't bored at all throughout the story, but I do think that it is geared towards a younger YA audience, but just like the first book, I still found it really enjoyable. My favorite part was definitely the elementals. I find them so interesting, and I just wanted to know more about them. It honestly kind of felt like the story could continue, so I don't know if these authors have plans on expanding this world, but I would not be surprised if that happens. But yeah, overall I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was fun. Next up, I reread It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover because I read this when it first came out, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I wanted to see if I would still feel the same way about this book, and I did. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars yet again. I think that this book is so beautifully written, and I know a lot of people think that this book romanticizes the idea of an abusive relationship, but honestly, I don't get that from this book. I think it's a very honest portrayal of an abusive relationship. The story made me sob at least 7 different times. Like, I think it is such a beautifully written book, but I don't usually cry at books, so the fact that this made me cry so many times is gonna have a special place on my shelf forever. I'm sorry. I read it after I watched the movie, and I have to say that I do think that the book is still better than the movie. I'm definitely going to be picking up the sequel soon because I want to see how that story plays out. But yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm sorry. I still really love this book. The next book I have is The West Passage by Jared Pekacek, and I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. So this follows Q and Pell, who are inhabitants of the Grey Tower. They are unexpectedly put into positions of power before they are ready, and they have to try to fix the seasons and defeat the beast that is threatening the tower. And it's kind of the story of that, but also not. I don't really know how to explain it without spoiling it, but I can't say that this book was necessarily for me. Like, I don't know if I am too dumb for this story, but I had no idea what was going on half the time, and I honestly was a little bit bored throughout it. The pacing was just so incredibly slow. It felt like nothing was happening, and it was like 1,000 pages long. It's not. It's like maybe 400 pages, but also the writing is so tightly packed that it just made it feel that much longer as well. It does have really cool pictures before every chapter, and it's split into, I want to say it's 6 books. It might be 8. I don't know, but like 8 passages, and the front of each of the new books has a picture. I'm trying to find one right now, but obviously because I'm trying to find it, it doesn't have it. Yeah, so like this. They look so cool, and they're actually hand drawn by the author. So I'm really sad that I'm not keeping this on my shelf because the pictures are just so pretty. And I did really like that Q and Pell go off on separate journeys, and then it's kind of like interweaves from there. I do think it was a very unique book, and I do think that the target audience will love it, but I was just definitely not that target audience. So unfortunately, I give it 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, I have My Darling Dreadful Thing. This is by Joanna Van Veen, and I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. This follows 21-year-old Ruse, who ever since she was young, she's had a spirit companion named Ruth. Ruth has always protected her, especially from her abusive adoptive mother, who constantly is forcing her to work as a scam artist, creating fake seances for money. Then a wealthy widow named Agnes takes interest in Ruse and whisks her and Ruth off to live in her house. But things take a turn for the worse when more spirits come out to play, and it's kind of the story of that. I wanted to read this book because I think that the cover is just so gorgeous and spooky, and I knew that I needed to read it. I actually listened to it on audiobook, and I honestly do think that that was the best way for me to consume the story, because I think if I had physically read it, I don't know if I would have finished the book. I thought that the addition of the psychiatric notes was really well done. I think that that was kind of what kept me wanting to read more, because I was very interested in Ruth and her story. There were definitely times that the story dragged for me, and I thought about putting it down a few times, but I was so invested in figuring out if Ruth was delusional or not. I kept reading, but overall, it was just average for me. I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Whale Eyes. This is by James Robinson, and I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This is a memoir about James, who has an eye condition that makes it hard for both of his eyes to focus simultaneously. It follows James through childhood leading up to his adulthood, when he went to college and made a film documentary about his condition. I listened to this on audiobook, and I definitely think that the physical copy is the way to go with this story. The author actually includes a lot of interactive material within the book, so trying to listen to that on audio is definitely not the same as if it's right in front of you. He is someone reading the book, and he is trying to explain the pictures, but it's definitely not the same thing. It is an extremely quick read. I finished it in under 2 hours, and I do think, like I said, the physical book is the way to go. I think that this book should be included in a lot of classrooms. I think that it was really well done, but read the physical book because it will definitely have a higher rating for you if you do so. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then the final book that I read for the month of April 2025 is On Thin Ice by Jessica Kim. This is another one that I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars to. This book follows 12-year-old fraternal twins Phoebe and Dex, who are complete opposites other than their love for the ice. Phoebe is a figure skater while Dex plays on a hockey team. When Phoebe's ice skating partner is injured 2 months before a big competition, she is devastated that she is not going to be able to compete. Dex is unexpectedly cut from his hockey team, and so his mother suggests that maybe he could become Phoebe's partner so that she is able to compete in this competition. This is a middle grade book, and it is both heartbreaking but sweet at the same time. There is a lot of discussion about grief in this, not only with the twins, but their mother and friends as well. Phoebe and Dex lost their father 2 years ago to cancer, and it was really nice to see them start to bond again over their love for him. The sibling relationship was really well done in my opinion. I think that the author did a really great job of the dual point of view because it really allowed us to feel more connected to both of them as individuals. The book also explores Phoebe's first crush, which was really cute. I listened to this on audiobook and it had dual narrators, and I do think that they did a really great job of bringing the twins to life. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Alright everybody, so those were the 8 books that I read for the month of April 2025. Let me know down below if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, and I will see you all in my next video. Goodbye!